Cute. Check. Have you ever had a dream in the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In a room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Alright. Nigga, have you ever had a dream during the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In the room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Calculated every step, so I can't stand a hater out here hating on. Niggas out here making moves. See a hand out the type of shit they waiting on.
Hey everybody, welcome to Trimedia Innovations. If you can hear me, go ahead and press 1. I think Logic is backstage. Let me know if you can hear me. As you come in, go ahead and like the video. There he is.
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. I can definitely hear you. I be trying to have the commercials come like back to back to back. Sometimes a little bit tough. But I be trying it. But yeah, I appreciate y'all showing up tonight. I think we're gonna do since that other show like really did so well, I really want to do some recapping of some of those talking points that they had because there were just so many people on the panel. I couldn't really sit there and kind of like dive into the information the way I really, really wanted to. And I think that there's a lot there left on the table when you I guess try to like look into the facts of the conversation rather than just go around the table and see how everybody feels about it. I think that there's a lot there for the lesson to really be learned and taken out of it rather than just this is how we feel or how it's really supposed to be. So
yeah, it was a big show. I was typing so fast in the chat. I was going off in the chat.
Yeah, I saw you in there. I be trying not to get too distracted though. When I look over there and I hear somebody's talking points, because it can totally like derail me from what my original point is. So I might like glance over there and see a couple things, but try not to like get too, bogged down on what it is they're saying in there because they'll control the conversation from the chat if you let them. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, they will. Yeah, they will. It was a good show. That was a great show. Brass did an amazing job, I think.
Peace to the chat.
Peace to the chat. Like the video as you come in, guys. You're getting vacation energy right now, you guys. 1,000. An absolute 1,000. And this happens to be something I'm pretty passionate about. I'm very passionate about hip hop and Team Gatekeep. But we'll get into all that. We'll get into all of that.
What did you say? I'm sorry. Say it one more time.
I said I'm very passionate about hip hop. I always hashtag Team Gatekeep.
Okay. Well, so what does that mean? I thought I heard something like that in there.
Yeah, I definitely put it in there.
What would you be gatekeeping of, like, or from?
The art form itself, the culture itself. It is a Black American art form. It's very specific to us. It was created by us. And I believe with all culture, any culture, if something is created within a culture and for that culture, the members of that culture are the ones who have the authority to gatekeep. And that is absolutely me. And I will absolutely do that tonight.
Okay. Brought the boxing gloves back out.
We get some energy.
That's exactly why I titled it like the hip hop versus FBA. Because I think that kind of captures a lot of what the conversation is really about, right? Are we talking about the spirit of hip hop, or are we actually talking about possibly particular people groups like relationship with this thing, right? And how they can benefit from their relationship from it, or is it actually effectively capturing the spirit of hip hop? So I think that's going to be a good back and forth, trying to see exactly where you're at, and on purpose, I didn't want to get too much of like how you felt about some of these topics, because I think the first time that you had these conversations be like the best time. So
let it unfold. Yeah, absolutely, JG. Shout out to JG in the chat. Supreme Abdul Jabbar, American
Mhm.
Dream. Good people. Much respect and love to the mods. And Happy New Year. I haven't talked to you since last year, Logic.
Yeah, it's been a minute, huh?
So, what are you on for 25? Tell us
You, s-
all.
you said, what am I on for 25?
Yes, we were dying to know.
So to like this year is actually like pretty special to me, right? Like,
That's
especially with the Trimedia group coming together.
yes.
Um, I think that it's going to allow me to get a lot smarter with, I guess, just the rest of the money that I have left over from being able to work.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have a lot of opportunity that I don't really know exactly what to do with, and I'm
Mm,
looking forward to get more discipline around stuff like that, right? And then to have an actual plan for it. I think
yes.
probably like one of the things I'm the most excited about. So that's definitely one of them. And there's like some future like career stuff that I think I was a bit lazy on last year that I want to do better on this year. Like I think that there's like some of those like little certificates and stuff like that I can get to just possibly get into like to like guarantee you're in like some managerial type of roles, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
To where like it'll open up all the kind of options that I have. Like if I wanted to, change different types of careers, which probably not what I want to do now, but if I ever did, I could have, I might be looking at a lot closer to like 200 if I had to just, put a number out there to where I
Mm-hmm.
feel like, wow, this all that is the what makes it worth it to go through all of that. And
Hey, 200 is a good number. That's not a bad number at all.
no, it's not out there. It's not a crazy number.
Right.
You're not exactly like gatekeeped out of 200,000.
No, no,
I'm
no.
saying I think that you can absolutely put the work in and be and make that like a realistic goal. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of my situation right now. Like I don't need, I don't need to have a lot of bills. Like my job actually pays for most, if not all, of that stuff. So it
Mm-hmm.
does leave me with a nice chunk of change that I could be doing more with.
Logic, are you there? You're going in and out.
Am I there? Yeah,
Yes.
I said
Yes.
it does leave me with some change that I'd like to be doing. Being a lot more productive with for sure.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
So that's like a big part of what I want to focus on for 2025 for sure. I want to focus on oh man, like these type of shows right here
Mm-hmm.
and like playing them back and like clipping them up and turning like one piece of content into multiple pieces of content. That's like
Oh
a big
yeah.
focus for me for this year too. And I gotta figure out how to manage my time and pull that off back to back. So.
It's really actually cool. You can actually do it in StreamYard. I do it all the time over on my channel. But yeah, in
Mhm.
StreamYard, once the stream is done, it give you the option to edit. And so you could do vertical like shorts, or you could do long form horizontal like this and just cut it. Just cut it, and it'll even republish it, just like it'll push the live stream over to the channel. It'll
Mhm.
push it up as an upload, and uploads, of course, they do a little bit better. Sorry, a little YouTube talk, guys. Got a little BTS. Hey, hits.
What's up, hits? And my
Shout out
Tri
to you
Media
guys in the
brothers
chat.
out there.
Oh, they're jumping right into the topic. No one should use that word. Realistically, no one can be forced not to use any word. That's true. Technically, literally, technically.
Hmm. Okay. For sure. So like, do you have any initial impression thoughts on the foundational Black American and like hip hop belonging to foundational Black Americans? Do you have any thoughts on that, or are you familiar with the conversation?
I am familiar with the conversation. I was in the live, and it was that live was very interesting because we were having a foundational Black American conversation and also a hip hop conversation. And I
Hmm.
think that there is definitely a distinction. I would say that hip hop was created by and belongs to Black American people because we're the people who created and invented it. FBA is a very specific thing. And as you may have seen in that live, it's very polarizing. You know, some people identify with that as an organization or as a group, and some do not. Even though it's not an organization, we established that. Okay, it's a
Mhm.
group. It's kind of like an identity moniker that some people identify with, but all people don't identify with, right? But
Mhm.
what it means, what it is basically just Black Americans,
Mhm.
and that's what we are. And yeah, so hip hop is definitely belongs to us. I wouldn't say it belongs to FBA, but I would say it belongs to us for sure.
Okay, and us being African Americans, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I don't like. I did enough reading on this topic to where I feel like I understand both sides of it, and that's when I think that you could really have the conversation
Mm-hmm.
well about
Yep.
what would you be more comfortable with the word contribution rather than creation? And you can get into those types of, I guess, dilemmas over words and what they mean and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't wholeheartedly agree. I mean, disagree. Nor that I wholeheartedly agree that it belongs to African Americans, right? So, like, I think
Who
that
does it
there's,
belong to, Logic?
I think it belongs to like the hip hop community, right? And the hip hop community isn't necessarily a particular color. It isn't a particular ethnic group, and it's probably a lot more of a location than it is a ethnic group, right? So like,
A
and then if
location?
you, yeah, but that's where I'm at with it because you gotta see all the like the moving parts coming together to create hip hop. That's where it starts to become like, well, you can't leave this part out, you can't leave that part out, and before you know it, you're not necessarily looking at one particular person or one particular event, and you're talking about a series of events that includes these particular people, regardless of what percentage of them are black or Hispanic, participating in this thing that they were doing. So,
Participation and creation are two totally different things.
hmm
And for example, I have a lot of clients who are Indian. They're from India, and they wear beautiful saris, and they have their own dances and culture and music, and it's a very distinct sound. And when I hear the sound, I know the sound. I know that that belongs to their culture. Now I could sample it and do a little song of my own, but I'm still someone who is outside of the culture, and they can allow me to participate, and which is cool of them. That's very, very cool of them to allow me to participate.
hmm
But I don't then get to identify myself as someone who's part of the culture. And this is the issue that I have with us as a group, as a community, is we don't feel like we deserve the authority to do so. Why do we shy away from that? Right? Like all over the world, people have very specific cultures that are very specific to them, right? And you know that because that's what's the word that comes up? People said like you're cosplaying as an Indian person, you're cosplaying as a as
the,
as a
the 50
whatever.
Cent Indians or the Pretendians.
Yeah, the pretendians. There's another, oh, cultural appropriation, right? So
hmm
are you appropriating? Are you participating? If you are participating, we can acknowledge you are participating, but this is not your culture. And we as a group, we're the only group, Logic. Can you think of another group that says, no, 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 no? I am, she helped us buy a house, and she's over here at our party, and she's, we taught her the dance, so now she's Indian. No, I'm not. I'm not. Right? We're still there at the party together, enjoying each other, and that is fabulous. But I'm not Indian, right? So
No,
and so
I
I want
feel
us to
you.
get strong. I want us to get stronger boundaries around this. I really, really do.
Okay, okay. I'm actually glad you said that, right? Because there's like a human phenomenon that today they observe and call Easternism, right? Where
Hmm.
people think we're like, because these cultures are so ancient and old, that some of their philosophy should be, taken at, I guess, at greater face value, than other cultures because of their age, right? So there's like an actual phenomenon of people being, how would you say, like just overemphasizing Eastern, especially like wise men and just their their quote unquote like sacred knowledge above
Yes.
other people simply because it's in that part of the world. But I think that's like, I think that is a person choosing to um I guess like hold one culture in a higher regard than another culture, right? Like,
Mm.
but they're not necessarily born into that culture. You kind of get what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right, but we have to we must, because this is how you preserve culture, which by the way, our culture was ripped from us when we were brought here, right? So it's a wild thought. I want you to see this as wild logic. I want you to see this as wild. It's crazy. It's a wild thought to take a people from their culture, strip them of it, language, mores, practices, spirituality, take it all, strip it all down from them, right?
Hmm.
And then when they create a new one, they're not allowed to say, "Oh, this is ours." Think about that. Think about that.
I think you just nailed it, right? So
Yeah,
the
I
reason,
did.
so
Come on.
so
Pay
the
yourself
reason
in.
why
Hey, Jamon.
I brought it up that way, right, is to be able to show you that yes, you can actually have somebody not born into a culture be considered a part or participating in this particular culture, right? But in reality, I think we're talking about people who are born into their particular culture, right? Which is going to
Mhm.
bleed into what I'm gonna say about Fat Joe and them. And then that's not the same as participating. It's actually being born in, into
No,
a particular. Um,
no.
okay, yeah,
Because
I
being born
think
into
that
the
there's.
culture means, and Fat Joe specifically,
Mhm,
right? He has all this history, right? So if you're born into a culture, um, I was watching this TikTok of this woman. She appears to be black, but she's half Japanese. But she's just been in Japanese culture. She doesn't know anything about black people, and they're like approaching her. She doesn't know how to talk to them. Like she's like, I'm a Japanese person. But the thing about being born into a culture and about Fat Joe specifically is he has all this history. He has
mhm.
all this knowledge. So when it comes to respecting our culture, that is my question when it comes to Fat Joe. Where is the respect for the culture? Where is the respect for these pioneers, for these creators who came up with something completely new and different that now, by the way, is used to sell everything, right? Where is the respect? Where is the respect for their feelings about whatever words you might be using? Right? So if you're a part of the culture and everybody's like, oh, Joe is cool. We know Joe. We came up with Joe out in New York. New York is a whole different thing, by the way. But we came up with Joe. He's cool with us. You know, he can use the N word. Okay, great. But why would he want to? Why does he need to? Right? I understand. Okay, fine. Like if you're giving him the option or the freedom, right, to do that, what kind of person would exercise that freedom? Like if someone from another group said, "Hey, you're cool with this, I am. You can call us whatever racial slur." Wouldn't you feel weird uttering a racial slur to somebody from that group, knowing the history of the word? Where is that level of consciousness when it comes to Fat Joe?
I think we are. I think look, let's just have the Fat Joe conversation now then, since we're on it. I
Let's
think
do
we're
it.
like projecting a little bit on the Fat Joe, in my personal opinion, right? I think that, see, like when you're asking me to be sensitive to how the other group of people feel, I think
Hmm.
are we talking about the group of people that are immediately experiencing Fat Joe saying the word, or are we talking about people who are like thousands of miles away and just have like a different cultural perspective of Fat Joe, right? Like, because the people that Fat Joe grew up around that he's using the N word with are certainly not as disturbed or disappointed or enraged or whatever word that you want to use as people who aren't in Fat Joe's immediate environment, right? That like they're the ones who feel offended that he uses the word around other people that are comfortable with him using the word. You know what I'm saying? So that's I think that that's a bit much, and I'm not sure if it of him saying the word is what is that? Like I'm not sure if that's diminishing the word. Like
No, it's
is he not
disrespect.
is disrespect?
And we should take it as that, especially black men.
Hmm.
Especially black men, and he has the nerve to say it in your face, for sure. For sure.
Disrespect. I think that's a little heavy. I think that's a little heavy. Like, okay, like I was just in the store the other day, and there was a dude that sounded like he was from New Orleans,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't quite sound right to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I heard him say the N word, and I looked over, and it was a white dude, and he
Mm-hmm.
was talking to a black dude, right? So
Mm-hmm.
these, I could hear a little enough of their conversation to know that they were in high school together, and that they were they were there getting clothes for for coming back off of Christmas break, and and to be honest with you, like I didn't think much of it. Like he wasn't talking to me first of all, and then the way he was using it wasn't um derogatory towards me of any kind. So it's a case by case basis. Like just because Fat Joe is Puerto Rican and he uses the word doesn't mean that he used the word in a derogatory way or it's some kind of like the negative towards me. Like that's how I see it. I
Do
don't
you
see it as
think
just cut and
I'm
dry
sorry, I'm
as
sorry,
he's
go
not
ahead.
allowed to.
Do you think that he's unaware that some black people will take offense to a non-black person using that word? He's aware of that.
Yes, he is. Yes,
He's aware of that, and
he's
he
absolutely not
continues, right? And so it's not like this situation where you Logic were saying, oh, he's around Remy and Pap and everybody's cool and whoever, what's the guy's name, I forgot his name. All his little black friends, right? And they're
Mhm.
fine with it. He's choosing to do it publicly. He does it on wax, on record, in public, on stages, on podcasts, right? And let's not say I have no idea how old Fat Joe is. Chat GPT might be able to help us out with that.
Mhm.
But people have been raising this issue with him for years. I want someone to tell me why he continues. I personally believe that it is blatant disrespect. Shout out to Akeem, by the way. It's
Blatant
blatant
disrespect.
disrespect. Yes, it is. After this, for someone his age, with his level of knowledge, with his level of access, and with as many times as he's been confronted with this, for him to continue to use in 2024 publicly is he's trying, y'all. Black men, black men, I want black men to stand up.
She going in right there. Did you know? I ain't mad at it. You know what I'm saying? I don't see it that way, but I definitely can. I definitely can I can understand how you reach that type of conclusion. Me personally, so this the two things to that stop me from being offended, and it just stops me from being offended.
I'm
One,
just
yes, he's doing it on wax and he's doing it in
mm-hmm,
public. But I think he's also doing it in private.
mm-hmm,
I think he's being who he is. And I'm think that there's three reasons, right? And the second thing is I think I might have lost one of my reasons. But I think in my family and like my immediate life, I would say he probably fits the description of, of what people are talking about when they're calling each other nigga, like I think he fits that description for those people in his media environment. So yeah, I don't think that he's like perpetrating or doing something fake when he's doing that. Like I think it's all authentic and it's far enough away from me to where
mm.
like I don't see how even if I could control what he says and how he says it 24/7, I'm not so sure of what the greater good that is for black men to be offended by him doing it, right? I don't feel oppressed by Fat Joe.
I don't need you to feel oppressed, right? Okay, oppressed, disrespected. These are like different things, but I think you and perhaps other people and black men specifically don't want to deal with it. Like, do you want to gatekeep? Do you want to be a part of my team gatekeep? Like, are you down to gatekeep? You give me very open.
I'm pretty open. I can definitely join stuff that I'm like that I can really like seriously get behind. You know what I'm saying? Where I can
Hmm.
feel comfortable and like that this is making sense to me. Absolutely.
I heard your point about him being authentic. That makes sense to me, right? Like,
Mhm.
this is how he behaves and speaks in his real life. So when he's in front of a camera, in front of an audience, he's being used. You use the word authentic.
Mhm.
I'll shy from that. Um, I hear that point. I hear that point. It's very interesting.
What do you think of it? I mean, because I mean, what you're saying, black men need to stand up against Fat Joe using the N word, which is like just about emergency status, right? Like that, like we're right around the corner from it if we're not there already. So if it's serious enough to where all black men need to be on alert about Fat Joe using the N word, like what how did you get there?
I got there
What makes this particular instance that serious?
because I hear black men talk all day about respect,
Hmm.
about how important respect is for them, how important it is to get respect from us, from black women, from just in general, to have respect in the workplace, on their job, and how respect is something that they need and that they value. And I have noticed that this is something that I've noticed black men confront each other about disrespect,
Hmm.
confront black women about disrespect, but not men from other races regarding disrespect. And I'm wondering what that's about. That's why it sticks out to me. That's why it's so glaring. Like, what is happening? You're just gonna, let this man,
I think it's because like it's
Hey
not.
Nick, hey Nick, love your picture, Nick. Sorry,
Oh,
girl, the girl.
you shouting out somebody else in the crowd. My bad.
I was
You
waiting
was on
for
the
the
road.
feminine
No, but
energy.
I mean, I'm understanding everything that you're saying. I'm just like not seeing where it's disrespectful, even towards black people as a whole, because to those black people that he talking to, like he
Hmm.
is that to them. Like
Hmm.
that's not no fakeness. I'm not in their circle, right? So like why am I trying to? I'm trying to impose how I think and how I feel the way the world ought to be into a situation where it doesn't appear to be that. Like it appears like this guy can be, you know, straighter haired Puerto Rican, Cuban, or whatever have you that he actually is, and fit into that culture of the area well enough to be able to say the N word, right? Like I just don't see it any other type of way. I don't see where he's doing it to disrespect people.
Hmm.
You're right. I think he's doing it because that's how he grew up, and those are his. That's just a word his friends use around each other.
And for context logic, are you from the South
Yeah,
originally?
I'm from New Orleans.
Okay, got it. So let me ask you this. Are you detached from the word? Like, have you heard white people use the word? Does it have any effect on you based on who's saying it? Or is the word just completely just, it's like saying paper cup?
No, I guess like for real, I'm to the point where context of it matters.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still a word that has a lot of pain attached to it. But I've also seen, like I said, I just had an experience the other day with two like much younger kids than I am at the mall. What they got to be 15, 16 years old using the N word. It's a white kid and a black kid. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, like is that me saving the black race by
Mm-hmm.
having a conversation with these two kids who are just communicating, at the
Mm-hmm.
mall about how his ancestors did my ancestors and why he shouldn't be. I don't think that it's like, I don't think it's doing that enough, even if I'm correct, for it to be a soapbox that I think that we should be standing on. I
Got
think
it. So
that
you don't see like detrimental effects to
I
reason.
don't.
Got it. Got
Not
it.
not yeah, if not in every case scenario, absolutely not.
Got it.
No.
Um, well, let me ask you this. Give me something to compare it to, like in your mind. Like, this is something that I would confront and correct. The N word usage is not.
You mean like another word to compare it to? Like that's
Or just something else. Well, I guess it
offensive?
would be case by case. It's kind of a weird question, the way I
Mhm.
put it. But that's interesting. So that makes sense to me, right? Like it's not a big deal, right? Like it's not like no one died and no one is going to die, and but then people did die. So I'll pull
Mhm.
myself back out of that. Interesting. So you feel like I should chill out.
No, no, I think that your emotions are supposed to be they're right where they're supposed to be. I think they're in the right spot, right? Now, as
Hmm.
far as like what type of things do we need to focus on or be more vocal about
Hmm.
um to actually contribute to something that's a little bit more significant is
Hmm.
my biggest
Yes.
um reason why like not Fat Joe. Like Fat Joe ain't,
Yes.
he
Yeah.
ain't doing nothing, you know.
I agree. I agree. And I will say, and this could be a shot, but we really don't talk about him in the hip hop conversation much outside of this very issue. So that could be something intentional because his music is just it's not it it's just not it's not anyone's top five. I don't think.
Right,
Let me
right.
know if Fat Joe is your top five because then we can talk about that more. That's
No, ain't
interesting.
nobody putting Fat Joe up there like
No,
that.
no, 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 no. I could. How many Fat Joe songs can you name?
Th- Other than Lean Back, I really can't think of one. And I know there's like one or two other ones that I should know, but I can't think of it.
Lean Back and Way Up. And I believe Way Up definitely was a group effort. Remy
Hmm.
made that one hot, in my opinion. Team Gatekeep. And was Lean Back like a group thing too? Was it a solo? Has he ever had a solo album?
I don't
I'm not
know.
being shady right now.
You might be right. That might be on the Terror Squad album or something, huh?
Yeah, like
Might,
when is
might
like,
be.
oh, that new Fat Joe, like, oh, let's the
So that's a
shade.
so that's another is that like another negative point towards Fat Joe saying the word that he don't have enough status in the hip hop community to be using the N-word? Is that even a part of it?
Yeah, like even Eminem, like let's have an Eminem conversation. Different
Mm-hmm.
thing. He's not a person of color. He's a white man, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
W- Um, um, even M doesn't use the N word,
Right.
right? Like,
Right.
okay. But I will, for the sake, put a little asterisk here. What I know for sure out of I've been many places in the country. New York is a very different place. New York is it's its own planet. It's different from the rest of the country. Um, Within the context of a hip hop conversation, a culture conversation, as and everyone else. But I'm not saying that to excuse any of his, because I made it clear here tonight how I feel about it. But New York is a very different place, so I'll add that in there.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree, right? So like um Eminem grew up in Detroit. I don't know what his experiences are as a child in Detroit, but I'm at least a little vaguely familiar
Detroit, what?
with shoot with Fat Joe being in the Bronx or in Harlem. I forget
Right.
which borough he's actually in, but I'm a little bit more familiar with the melting potness of New York as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to
Yeah.
of seeing Detroit as being super segregated, especially
Yes.
in like the 60s, I mean not the 60s, but like the 70s, 80s, for sure. I can easily
Great
imagine that.
point.
So
Great point. Great point. Super segregated environment to New York, where I'll add another asterisk. Many of the other Latin cultures that exist in New York do use the N word like Fat Joe. However, most of them understand that outside of their own circle of people who understand them and know their whole background and where they went to school and where they grew up and all of that, understand that it is offensive and have the ability to refrain outside of that environment, which Fat Joe refuses to do. But FBA, so did you learn a lot about FBA in the last one?
wait, okay, but look.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was transitioning. I'm so used to doing
Oh man.
It's so nice
So
to work
okay.
with you, Logic.
I'm enjoying this too. This is definitely fun. I knew like just having an organic conversation was gonna make it. I thought that was gonna make it for the best show. So I think that's working. I think it's doing pretty good. So you was like, Fat Joe refuses to not say it in public, right?
Right.
That's where he's crossing the line of like he'll come to a meeting of black people that just say, "Hey, Fat Joe, we don't like you saying the N word," and he'll show up at that meeting and continue to say the N word. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where. Okay, I get you. I get you. He could, if that's what he's doing, he could absolutely be a little bit more selective of the environment to use the word. And I don't wholeheartedly agree. I don't wholeheartedly disagree. Yep, I said that in the very beginning.
Yeah, there are white Latinos. There are white Latinos, and this is another thing that I said in the live stream, which was just so fabulous. By the way, after this live, you guys, you can check out the replay of the last live stream. It was fab. But another thing I was saying is that it's also he comes from a culture that has its own brand of racism, racist ideologies, colorism, etc. That group, that community, whether it's Puerto Rican or Cuban, which I think Lord Jamar said he's half and half. I'm not sure, right? But both those communities, Dominicans, all the people, shout out to NY, all the people have that lighter is better, darker is not, kind of ingrained to their own culture as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe focus on that, Joey.
Okay. I mean, I get what you're saying.
Have you ever
Now,
heard him
so
speak out about anything like that?
I mean, I do. I really see both sides of the conversation. But I guess for me, the point that I would hammer home is, like I said, I think there are much bigger fish that we could fry. And I think even if we got in control of Fat Joe saying the N word, I'm not sure if that does anything, right? I don't think that really instills in us a sense of pride, and probably, unfortunately, I'm gonna just say he probably is not a bad representation of an N word, right? Like. He probably embodies the whole spirit at a very high level. He probably does. So, hopefully that doesn't offend too many of y'all out there. But
you know what, Logic? I am with you on that. I'm all like, but what is our future? What are we creating? What are we building right now? Like, I'm totally with you on that.
Look, you already get it. That's part of the dilemma, right? This is. So when we're doing all of this fighting to call it ours, and we're doing the gatekeeping for us, but what exactly are we gatekeeping? I think it's a fair question. Yo, Hits, I see you in the background. Yo, you want to run us a commercial before we switch the topic up?
By the way, guys, we need about 10 more likes, please. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Shout out to Jersey. JG Chosen.
Can we please get the likes up? I greatly appreciate that.
And thank you in advance to the people who just came in and just did it. Shout out to y'all. Extra special love to you guys.
Trimedia Records.
This is my story. Get the story.
On your ID, you see me calling nigga. Out of his league, a workaholic nigga. Nickname, Big Game, big thing. Handle his business, he never switched lanes. Had some brain surgeries in high school. Still came out that bitch a top dude. Moved to the city of the Mavericks. Came out this bitch dropping classes. We got him waiting. Took a little minute, was patient, but now we take it. Anytime we want in this game, my situation is entertainment intertwined with information. Alchemist soul, how we move the tassel and roll. It's amazing how we can turn something brass to gold. And we steady making hits. Architect with the prop and the scripts. It's logical that the product will flip. My boy Chef did the lineup. I'm fresh in the bitch. Carnivorous podcast, the newest show on the list. DQ on the boat, so I'm rocking the ship. So all the music gon' be dope and the artist legit. Hold my beard, concrete cord, then stepped in the door. See, that's my man, and he reppin' for show. And true saviors, a player with flavor. Lexicon Taylor, lines on point like a laser. We need that paper, we building the vault. Cause you niggas don't listen, y'all be waiting to talk. Lack accountability and try to make it our fault. But opposing us is trying to arm wrestle the hawk. You coming up short on your re-up, cause nigga we up. Really wouldn't want to be up. I kick my feet up, my beef is wagyu and my truck is all speakers. Bills is all blue and my blunt is all reefer. Responsible deniability, that boy eater. High quality whack juice by the liter. They like to call us ops, we got Oppenheimer features. That's the bomb out on the island just to teach
you. Yo, welcome back. Man, we having a good show though. This is a good little conversation right now.
Do you see what I'm talking about? What DQ just did on that track? That deserves some gay
he lit it up. He always
and
doing
also,
that.
Thank you guys for watching. If you can see my avatar, Chef did my lineup too. That's Chef. I love my bad jokes. You guys are gonna get it later.
He lines you up because he's a barber?
Yes. No, he says it in the rap. He says Chef did my lineup. So I just wanted to jump in there.
Yeah, man, DQ is cold, bro. That's literally what he does. I mean, I didn't got the chance to hear a bunch of his stuff like behind the scenes, and he's actually really, really talented. Kind of crazy, you know.
Shout out to DQ. Shout out to Hits. Shout out to Brass. And Logic. You're watching Trimedia.
Yeah,
You know, my bigger issue with hip hop though, other than gatekeeping, which I think we totally should do. Really my issue with hip hop and the state of it is that we don't own it. 50 something years later, we should own everything.
Yeah, we're certainly not the majority beneficiaries of it. Not even close, unfortunately.
And that is so sad. That is so sad.
It is. It really is. And you know what's really crazy? Like to me, so I want to know exactly why you want to gatekeep it, but when it comes to why I would gatekeep it, is that in some degrees it's like it embodies like this passion and this beauty that can come out of, you know, almost like the worst of the worst of human situations. Like that part of the poetry to me is certainly worth preserving, right? Like there are some things in there that you would consider art, and there's some things in there that you wouldn't look at quite like that, right? So it's twofold for me. I definitely wouldn't say all of it is as elegant as the embodiment of the human spirit, but the parts that you can clearly tell I think are like beyond worth keeping, right? So that's me. That's where I see it as something worth gatekeeping for when you're talking about like the pressures in which it's created under, and then for it to be, to
Logic,
like be something
you
so
went out.
beautiful. I did.
Okay, you're back.
Yeah, I was saying like the pressures that it's that it happens under, that it's created under, for it to come out and be something so beautiful. I think that is really worth preserving. So what's your reason for wanting to gatekeep it?
Real quick, I'll tell you what my reason for wanting to gatekeep is. But what I loved is that you just described ratchetness as lacking elegance of the embodiment of the human spirit. Like if you're ever hanging out with Logic, he's like,
Okay.
right now you're just not, you don't have the elegance of the embodiment of the human spirit. He's calling you ratchet AF. That is so funny. That was a bar though. Can I
Yeah.
use that?
Very nice. Well, you can steal that. You can steal that. I got a bunch of them.
Yeah, I think we should gatekeep. I think we should gatekeep and own because, again, our unique history, other areas have been colonized, other peoples have been colonized, other peoples have under, been enslaved, or like I like to say, criminally enslaved. But our experience is so different and set aside from every other experience because of the culture aspect, because our culture was not allowed, because many of us don't even know where we're derived from,
Mm-hmm.
and can't even make that connection. In my opinion, that that is such a great injustice. That is like so inhumane. I mean, chattel slavery is inhumane, but that aspect of it is also very, very terrible. And so that's why I say gatekeep, right? Because this is all we got. This is all that we have. And so that's why I think it's important. But more important than gatekeeping is ownership. Is ownership. The fact that our top 5, or whatever, top 7, whoever is on your list,
Mm-hmm.
that group of people has generated billions of dollars for
Mm-hmm.
other people's families, other people's legacy, other people's companies that will be inherited for generations. And many of the people on the list, the top 5, the top 7, the top 10, your top 3, a lot of those people still struggle to this day. There are only a few, and most of them have made most of their money outside of music, which is, I'm very happy they were able to do that. But the fact that people are still even compromising to get a quote unquote deal in 2024 is wild. We're in the social media age. We should own everything. We should own everything. And here comes AI, so I'm not sure how that's gonna. I AI can't create what we can create. Maybe that'll be another show, but
Mm-hmm.
that's my real beef with it.
There was a lot of passion right there when you was like, we need to, we could own everything. I could tell that was
Ownership. It's like my
something that
whole
was real
thing.
important to you right there. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so I get that. I totally get that. So not saying that I wouldn't gatekeep it, but I would have my own special reason of. But you also said something that I have to strongly disagree with, right? It's
Okay.
not all we got. It's not even close to all we got. I
I
think it
meant
might be like one of
culture.
the,
I
how
mean,
would you say, more globally recognizable things.
mm-hmm.
For sure, right? Now, for that reason, I could see it having some importance to us, but I even even with that, right? Even if I overemphasize that, I think that there's so much of African Americanness in hip hop that you will never unwind African Americans from hip hop. Like no matter how you want to spin the story, you can't spin it enough to take African Americans out of the story. You just can't do it. It's not possible.
When I said it's all we have, I meant because we're not connected to our original cultures for those of us who did come over from the continent. That's what I was talking about specifically. Um, um, but yeah, I'll continue to do it for fun. But the more important piece definitely is ownership. Definitely is ownership. Even on the sports side, right? These men have made millions of dollars, right? They have wrecked their bodies, some of them their brains,
Mm-hmm.
and we should own at least half the stadiums, right? Three quarters of all the teams, right? That's
Yeah,
a
I
bigger
get you.
beat.
We should have made a lot of money off of that stuff by now, right? We really should have. We should have.
Ownership and control.
I thought that there was an opportunity for us, like it was one of them lockout years. No matter if it was one of them times. I think it might have been Trayvon Martin,
Yes.
where like the NBA
Yes.
protested for like that one night.
Yes.
I
And
really
they were
wanted.
shook. They
Yeah,
were shooketh.
yeah. I
That
thought
was
that, that
some
was a
shit.
great time. You could have had a couple stars. Said, you know what, just screw it. We about to go play for ourselves. People would have showed up for it. They would have been, it was the perfect like social climate for something like that to happen.
Thank
Definitely.
you so much for bringing that to my mind. Because
Hmm.
actually, if you think about that, if you think that was like like right going into BLM,
Hmm.
and BLM was a moment that we're never gonna get back. We have gone from BLM to get rid of DEI everywhere. Like DEI is gone, affirmative action is gone, all of this stuff is completely done, which also kind of speaks to how we should conserve our energy with regard to policy. My whole thing right now, Logic, is policy and politics versus ownership.
Hmm.
When you own some ish, that is the ultimate authority in this country is ownership.
Hmm.
And so, I'm thinking about all the people who have truly sacrificed to get these things in place. If you think about it, DEI, affirmative action, which is what preceded that. People fought for years to get those things, and they went away overnight. But that BLM moment, when the social dynamic was so different, because the dominant group in this country was slightly, they were empathetic and almost apologetic, almost they were talking about how they were confronting their own privilege, and we should have used that opportunity to do so much more, because it's done now. It's done. So
Um, I can't disagree with that. I really would, now that it's gone, you
hmm
really are, you're super concerned about like what will we use now, right? Like, I mean, if that's what it sounds like you're basically saying, and I agree with that, right? Like if we already were at such a disadvantage as far as how much tools that we had at our disposal to be able to figure it out, and they take away some government regulated ones, like that's definitely a big deal. Don't get me wrong. um
hmm
Now the more I looked into it, i had to I had to again understand both sides of the argument. So when it comes to DEI and like the theory of it versus how it's actually implemented in a daily work environment, I think that it sounds like it's doing one thing, but in like practicality and practice is really doing another thing. And I think That's what the problem of what it is, right? And if you can have a conversation around how it's used, I think that you could easily understand how it being taken away is not beneficial, but certainly
Mhm.
like it presents an opportunity for reform, right? I think that something like that can come back up under different parameters and possibly even just work better because the statistics on DEI weren't good at all, right? It's the language that DEI uses is what people like and not necessarily the results.
Mm. I think I think when we get into this kind of situation, it's kind of like it could be a good thing because it could force us toward ownership, right?
Hmm.
If like these people aren't hiring us, if you think about it, every struggle is basically begging and pleading for owners to treat you better, give you more, etc., right?
Hmm.
The permanent solution will always be to just be the owner. But interesting question in the chat. So I'll ask you, Logic, do you identify as FBA?
No, I don't.
Got it.
I, I think I fit the definition of a African descendant of slaves better, the ADOS.
Uh-huh,
Um,
ADOS.
but I don't consider myself FBA at all. I think that there's way too much other baggage that I need to bring over to just be associated with that. So no.
Like what kind of baggage?
Like you need to be under the impression that you're serving some kind of purpose for the reparations movement for Black people in America. So you're basically claiming to be at the forefront of a movement with no politicians or policies or legislation, no lobby plans at all. You just have um, an organization slash ethnic group that you've joined up with, and it just
It's
doesn't.
I went
doesn't
out again.
Yeah, I think it's you going out. I got bars.
Oh, is it me?
I think so. I think so.
Let me get it
But it's cool. So
together.
what did you miss? I think only thing that you might have missed me saying is I really think that joining FBA just doesn't serve any purpose because you're not entering the fight at that point. You're pretending to be entering in the fight of reparations.
Okay, it is me. So I apologize to you and the chat. And yeah, thanks. Um, that's interesting. Okay, so you would I think the way a lot of people kind of do this ADOS FBA conversation is, are your parents Black people that are from America that were born here,
Hmm.
and on both sides are the grandparents from here.
Hmm.
And then I think that's how a lot of people write.
No, that's the short version, right? They're
Uh-huh.
really fanatics about this about reparations, right? Like
Well, that's how both groups started. And um that's literally how both groups came to like be, is this conversation about reparations.
mm, yeah,
They they they
I still think that you need more emphasis. In order to be considered them, like you have to be assuming that solving this lineage problem
Mhm.
is what puts you at the forefront of the reparations movement, right? And I think that's just the bottom line to it. That's why they're so concerned with who's considered Black, who's not considered Black, right? And that's what their whole, I guess, not status quo is the wrong word, but their whole like memorandum is about establishing
Mm.
who is eligible for reparations. So that's what
Yes.
their thing is. That's what
Yes.
the focus actually is.
And it's actually similar for ADOS. I think the major differences are that ADOS is more organized. It is an organization. They have formulated a foundation, and they're politically active. They have political agenda. Um, yeah. So those are the differences that I have observed. But the but and going back to the reparations conversation, bringing about both of these groups, that is the reason why, is because if you're talking about receiving reparations or repair in some form, it's not always cash. If you're talking about receiving some benefit, right? It is the purpose of it is to set aside resources for a very specific group, and so it's necessary to define that group.
It is. It is. It is a part. Look, it's undoubtedly a part of what you would need to piece together in order to build a legitimate case for Black people to get reparations. One of the things that you're going to have to overcome is who's eligible for it. Now, not saying that that's not a problem, but I
Hmm.
think when you focus too much in on that singular issue, that you can overlook that there are much bigger problems that you would have to legally overcome, right?
Right.
And that's like the short version of why you can't overemphasize the lineage. And the lineage might be I mean, I'm not gonna say it's least important, so I'm not gonna go there, but
Hmm.
it's it's as important as all the rest of the stuff, probably more than likely. But
Hmm.
without all the pieces together, you probably don't have very much at all. So you can have the lineage and have nothing else, and still not really have a case on your hands. So it leaves you with nothing to do with this said lineage is the
Hmm.
problem.
Right. And to be fair, um, it's kind of add contribute this to the conversation. There are groups that have won reparations on the local level, in California, in Illinois, in Chicago area where I live now. And so lots of people have done really good work on behalf of um, our group, and made some gains. So shout out to that. Shout out to that. And reparations, when we talk about reparations, people always think about cutting checks, but just bam, hit your account. But there are other forms of reparations, such as tax breaks, tax incentives, free education, um, land in some cases, um, and other things like that. Debt forgiveness, student debt forgiveness, etc. So the people who work to attempt to win reparations, um, I just want to shout them out. And that's
What
it.
is LL talking about? Logic
What did
tells
LL say? Tell
it
that to
said,
Yvette when she went to a reparations conference and that Jamaican woman crashed out on her. Shout out to Yvette. Yeah, some people crash out. Okay, so here's the thing. So with deciding, when you're lobbying, petitioning for reparations, and because you have to, you set aside a specific group that the resources are going to be for. People outside that group are like, hey, that's divisive, right? Because if it was like, people with pink lipstick can't have reparations, I'm out, like I'm gonna crash out, right? On event, like what, how come I can't get it too?
yeah, you
And
out of
so
there. Back of the line.
yeah, so it's not, and it's important to have this conversation actually, because it's not a diss to our other Black American brothers and sisters, right? It's just we're fighting for something specific because we've been affected in a specific way, which differs from people who migrate to this country, or maybe their parents migrated to this country. It's just different, right? It's not a diss, it's just different. It's not a diss, it's just different. It's not a diss, it's just different. Uh, who's that?
I don't know.
Hello. By the way, shout out to you guys for the likes. Thank you so much for the likes. Oh, they're gone now. Logic, are you there? Let me make sure it's not me again. I think it is me.
But yeah, so where were we? I'm sorry, man. Got distracted for a quick second.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, dope.
Yeah, we were so yeah, we were still talking about the FBA ADOS stuff, right?
Yeah.
Um so I think that their version of gatekeeping is the extreme version too. That's the unhealthy version that
Yeah.
I feel like we all should be like trying not to get that far, right? Like I think once you start seeing conversations like this as this is a part of you contributing to your love of black people, right? I think you're starting to like you're taking it a little too far, and it might be becoming destructive, right? Like you might be at that point starting to focus your energies on stuff that really don't matter as much, and that's where like the dangers of all of this misinformation, bad information, and these little online cults kind of comes from, right?
Yeah.
People don't like. I don't really like to say it, but I know in my heart of hearts, like Tariq Nasheed, he is a fraud. Like he's definitely a scammer.
Ouch. Oh, they're gonna here they come in the chat. Duck. Duck.
Well, when you say stuff like that, you're just gonna have to deal with it. So but that's why I don't really like saying it because so many people are gonna get in their feelings about it, and I might just be giving you my personal experience. To you
Mhm.
he might be the savior of all the black people on the planet Earth, and to me he's just a scumbag. And so now I'm supposed to feel bad about saying it because you think he's the
Shots
savior. It's kind
fired.
of kind of weird.
Shots fired. No, I went in on Fat Joe. I think it's yeah. I mean, you're giving your observation of the man based on his actions. Like that's you didn't do anything wrong in my opinion.
So yeah, so I think that's enough about them. I don't want to go too far on and on and on about it. They're still busting fireworks on here.
I do wish Joe would have called Tariq out and not FBA as a group. Um, in my opinion, that was the misstep. Because he has an issue with Tariq, which is fine, or Lord Jamar, allegedly. And so I think if you have an issue with another man, just deal with that man. You don't have to say, call out a whole group of people who did nothing to him. Imagine.
I think he was well within his rights to say that. I think that he painted with a broad brush, but for
Yeah,
the
very
most
broad.
part he was spot on. Those were the people that were attacking him. So I think that he
Mhm.
I think he fired back at the right group of people.
Now
Because
that Tariq's people will attack someone that he's beefing with. So I have no evidence of that, but I believe it 100%.
now in a couple minutes I'm actually gonna I'm gonna put the mystery to like bed for real, for real. I'm gonna put it
Okay.
on the screen and I'll be able to show exactly how that first off the origin story of hip hop is very, very complicated.
Yes.
And one of the things that you gotta really remember is that it doesn't start in one place. Like
Hmm.
it kind of starts in three, possibly four places at the same time, all of which are in the Bronx, but it's really surrounding these particular people that, they were the DJs. So
Hmm.
then, as you walk down that story, all right, and you have to realize a lot of factors, and one of them being that those first parties are not called hip hop parties, right? So
Hmm.
then it begs the question of how do you go about answering what's a hip hop party? What is hip hop music? Like when did they start releasing music that was fall under the genre of hip hop? Like
Yeah.
all of these things,
Even the hip
you know,
hop
they
term. later, came after the art form itself.
Right, 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 right. And one big part of the story is Bambaata's part of the story, and that's where it becomes really clear how you don't start seeing hip hop like thrive in this particular area without the circumstance being multicultural, and that's just the bottom line to it. You can't remove them from the origins of this new thing. Remember, now we're talking about a new thing, right?
Hmm.
Right. You can consider the new thing a continuation of the old thing, but it's a new thing, so it's also something totally totally separate. It is its own thing. It's not just a continuation. It is now you know giving birth to its own particular thing, and in that environment, I think you're going to find more than just black people there. So it's one thing to be able to to try to summarize it. I think Brad tried to summarize it. He asked the question of, do I think it's an African American thing that Latino people participated in? And I think it's not quite that simple, right? I think that both people were participating at the same time before it was being called hip hop, and that's to me that's pretty simple.
Gotcha.
What are your initial thoughts on that, right? Because I know what perspective you're coming from. So do you feel like it's like totally impossible for the story to be that inclusive? Like what is your working knowledge of how it becomes completely African American?
I think the overall story is certainly inclusive, especially if you bring into other elements of hip hop like dance, etc. That uh, absolutely, um, that there is definitely a multicultural aspect in terms of the people who participated and who contributed to those early stages. As the art form we understand now, in terms of lyricism, cadence, storytelling, etc. Um, the group of artists, the group of creators that created it, that grew it to what it is today, those are Black artists. They just are. And there were other artists participating at the same time as well from other groups, but that is why I define it as a Black American art form.
So even you just admitted that you feel like that's more modern.
Well, yeah, it grew because like if you listen to not Kendrick, J. Cole. If you listen to J. Cole, I listen to Rashid Jamal a lot. Um, if you compare it to what we're calling early hip hop, early rap, where it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to the hip hop, like that, that, um, and the skill of rapping that developed after that stage, right? And so the development of it when it really became a thing, a completely separate individual skill set, that is where I place like the weight of it in terms of who was creating, who did it. And who we can even see still today continues to hold that as a natural ability, as an innate kind of like thing that they can just do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm right here with you. I'm pulling up. Is it an echo?
No, you sound okay to me.
Okay. I think his fix it for me. But yeah, there's a. I'm about to pull it up on Wiki so we can all
Okay,
look at
Wiki,
it
here we
together.
go, guys. Receipts.
There we go. The Nation, Zulu Nation. Let me just go ahead and share my screen.
Oh, shout out to True Savior. The special guest from the last stream, amazing guest.
Yeah, they was going crazy on that last stream.
I didn't even stay for the whole thing. Did it get like more wild or?
It did. I didn't finish it
Oh,
either, but apparently towards about 12, 1 o'clock, stuff started getting off the
oh
rails a little bit,
wow.
which is a good and bad thing, right? You like that people are that excited about the topic, but you never really like to see grown ups up here losing control over these crazy topics. That's always a bit crazy to me. Entertaining, but it is a little crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, this is the simple version.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why ChatGPT, I mean not ChatGPT, but Wikipedia is usually a really good starting point because they keep stuff simple. And it says we're just going to start right here in the history, right? It says originally known simply as the organization, it arose in the 1970s from the reformed New York gang, the Black Spades, right? So if you look at who the Black Spades were, it says the Black Spades were mostly an African American street gang, which started in the Bronx during the 1960s. So we're already talking about people and groups that existed before the birth of hip hop. In the
Mm-hmm.
70s, right? You don't get your official birth of hip hop and probably until the late 70s, early 80s. Um, but
70s,
these are
80s.
these are
Mm-hmm.
organizations that Africa Bambaataa would collaborate with to I guess you would say start those early elements of hip hop, right? So let me continue reading. It says the Black Spades were a street gang in the South Bronx, while the Black Spades were the base organization. Other reformed gangs contributed additional members, notably the Savage Nomads. Savage Nomads were mostly Puerto Rican and African American street gang. It also included the Seven Immortals. Is that little tab popping up too as I'm hovering over it? Like, does it show that it's mostly Puerto Rican? You see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, yeah. So it just listed three other street gangs that
Mm-hmm.
were considered to be mostly Puerto Ricans, right? So we've established that members members began to organize cultural events for youth, combining local dance and music movements into what would become known as the various elements of hip hop. So this is them telling you the story of who was at those youth events, right? Of
Mm-hmm.
pre hip hop,
Yeah.
right? So you're talking about people who are already participating in what would become hip hop culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't specifically everybody in New York,
Well,
right? It
thank you,
wasn't even
sir.
specifically everybody in the Bronx. It was the
Mm-hmm.
people going to these Big Herc jams, going to these Grandmaster Flash jams, going to these Africa Bambaataa jams, and in this particular story, you see that a lot of these gangs weren't, they weren't even predominantly African American. It says they were mostly Puerto Rican, with some black members in there, right?
Right.
So that's, I mean, that to me is really clear as far as like who's there in the beginning. Um, you can spark up another conversation about whose thing it is that they're doing it with, but whatever they're doing it together, and then this would eventually become something brand new on the scene called hip hop. So
Got it.
to me, it's pretty simple, right? It's not that difficult. I mean, there's more receipts that can be shown as far as like what type of music they're playing. And it's really more so for the naysayers, but to me, like when you look at it this way, it's pretty clear that the people who were there in the beginning were blacks and Puerto Ricans. Especially when you're taking into consider the story of Africa Bambaataa's part of the story.
If
Remember, I'm saying
if
that there's multiple origins.
if I'm if I go to this if I go to the studio with DQ and I take all my friends, like all my homegirls, right? We're in the
Mhm.
studio with DQ, right? We're not creating, we're just there, right? So our presence doesn't necessarily mean make us creators, right? And this could be flawed, but this is my thinking. When it comes to hip hop culture, rapping and or emceeing is at the top of the pyramid, okay? Shout out to the dancers. Love y'all. Shout out to the graffiti artists, turn tattoo artists, all of the people. Like, shout out to y'all, right? But hip hop is a musical art form with a greater culture with other elements, right? So I really, like I said, I give that weight to the lyricists that developed it into an art form to where it became a skill. Some people have an innate, it's crazy to watch. It's crazy to watch. Like, if you've ever seen like an actual freestyle, not a written is not a freestyle. It's why they're two separate words. But like an actual freestyle, something spiritual is happening to that person, like possession or something. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I don't dispute, and shout out to wiki. People are like, the wiki is it's wiki, but but I don't dispute that that these people were present, that they were around, that they were somehow participating, right? But it's like name a code. Okay, logic, anybody in the chat, name a crazy cold Puerto Rican rapper right now, like a crazy Puerto Rican rapper.
I don't have one.
Not one.
I don't have one.
Why is that? There's not one.
I mean, I don't have a explanation for that per se. But I could tell you, like, you would probably more than likely find that guy in New York,
Yeah.
hanging out with black people than you would find him like on the island of Puerto Rico. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Mhm.
Right? Okay. Sorry. This is what I'm saying. This is
What's the breakthrough
what
there? What did I
because
miss?
it's a black art form. And so what you just admitted is that people's proximity to us is what is the most likely thing to give them the sauce and the ability. Not, did you say pun? Rest in peace to pun. Rest in peace to pun. Peace and blessings to his family, friends, and loved ones.
She talking about today, man. Didn't Pun die like 20 years ago or something like that?
Rest in peace to pun.
Right. And she did say today, but
There's not one.
I can't. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I can name one, and I don't
Thank
think
you.
I don't think that really makes your case
I
though.
got him, guys. I got him, y'all.
I don't think that really makes your case though,
It
because
so
the
makes my case.
the case that you want to be making is you probably want to try to like narrow down the origins of like breakdancing, because really rapping is like the last art form of hip hop, right?
It's the most
Like
important.
it's the most important today, but it's the like the last one to even get on the scene, because Coke LaRock and them were MCs. They weren't like rapping on the beat like that. That wasn't what they were doing.
Right.
Totally
MC, different thing. Yeah. I can fine with that.
right. So if we're talking about the original tenets, the original elements, it's really MCing. It's not even rap, right?
But MCing doesn't even exist today. You know why? Because it evolved into
But we're talking
lyricism.
about the origins of
It's a
hip hop,
real,
but
actual skill.
we can't eliminate MCing just so we can, just so the story can shape up the way we want it to. We can't just throw out MCing and how it progressed. We got to take it for what it was.
Yeah, shout out to that. MCing, great. I love it.
You still just not going for it. Not going for
I
that the
mean,
people could have been at the parties
who's
coming up
an
with these
MC
dances
today?
together. Huh?
If hip hop is 50 years old and we're going to the origins, which is very late 70s, super early 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then hip hop's life, the vast majority of the life of hip hop is the past 40 years or so, right?
But you can't really do that. I mean, you can't really say which part of it is more important. I mean, you need it like it all kind of counts. Like you gotta at least admit all of it count.
Yeah, all of it counts. Shout out to all of it. Yes, I want, yeah, absolutely. I honor every contributor to the art form while maintaining that it is a Black American art form.
I mean, I don't disagree with
Are we
that.
opening the panel?
I could, yeah, you know what? That's probably a good idea. I want to hear what some of these other people are going to say about this.
Yes,
But I
people, come
think
on up.
I
And
really
shout out
think
to you guys for
that
the likes, by the way. Those likes are liking.
I really think that it doesn't diminish like the African American legacy to have two people groups at this party, right? And I don't think that like I know you're doing your gatekeeper thing. I just don't
He's
think
like,
that
bless your
we are
heart.
getting enough, right? Like you saying it's a black art form that we that we don't own, all this other kind of stuff. What's up, Joel? I see
We
you down
should
here.
own.
We should own it. We should own a much bigger share in it, right? But and yet we're like fighting and clamoring for, today's artists, Sexy Red and all of them. Young Vaughn, King Vaughn. Oh,
May he
his name.
rest. Rest in
May
peace,
he
King
rest in
Von.
peace too. Yeah, he up there with you in Chicago.
I'm on vacation, but I miss my city. The fireworks were crazy. I miss them.
The fireworks were pretty lame this year down here. But I that's not one of our things. We're not like a big fireworks place city. What's up, Joel? I see you out there, man.
Peace,
Is Joel
Logic. Peace,
safe?
young lady. I don't know her name. But peace to y'all.
This is I
Y'all,
Am
Joel,
from the
I'm
On the
I
Spot
am.
Live. Yeah, she got her own channel and she's nice enough to come over here and collab with us.
oh, that's
I
what's up.
love
That's
it
what's up.
here.
I am hip hop. What's your name again?
I am.
Oh, just I am.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Peace. I am. All right. So check this out. Y'all all over the place with this conversation. So first of all, yes, hip hop has its roots with African Americans. African Americans are the cool kids. So you hang around the cool kids, you learn how to talk, you learn how to dress, you learn how to do a whole bunch of other stuff. But you can't erase the Puerto Ricans out of it. Like that would be like changing what really happened. They were all hanging together. It's like if somebody says, well, there was a Jamaican involved in hip hop when it started, and people start saying, oh no, you can't say Jamaicans. You would be wrong, because there was a Jamaican involved in getting this started, a couple of them. So African Americans have always hung out with a bunch of people. This delineating thing and FBA and not trying to be around other people groups is new. Within the last daggone 6 years, COVID or some got daggone somewhere. That's new. We ain't been doing that. African Americans been hanging around everybody, allowing everybody to hang around us. We don't care what your background was or your ethnicity. We didn't care. And people saying the NIGG word, we let everybody who hung around us say it. If you was cool with us, we let you say it. So it's like this conversation is strange to me. I'm 55. I'm double nickel. So I grew up and hung in the street in the late 70s throughout the 80s. Right? I was part of the breakdance. I'm part of the breakdance people. That's me. That's what I did.
Okay.
Spit on my head, spit on my hands, spit on my back. That's me. That's what I did. Say it again.
I say I ain't know you're spinning on your head. You go ahead, bro.
Man, shoot. Too bad we didn't have cell phones. I ought to show you something. I can't show you nothing now. I'm too old for it. But anyway, and my skills have greatly deteriorated. But my point is that, like, I think we mess up when we try to cut folks out. And I think we mess up when we don't contextualize it properly and just let folks know, yeah, African Americans were the biggest influence in it. But yeah, you had other people hanging with them. They played their part. That doesn't take it away from African Americans. It just means other people were a part of it as well. And let me say this. The DJ was the thing in the
Thank,
beginning, not the
thank you.
rapper. Kool Herc, one of the earliest MCs, one of the earliest. I think he was doing this thing in like 73, 72. He early, right? He hung out with Kool Herc. You know, they did the parties and he did the thing on the MC, but he called attention to Herc. All MCs called attention to their 90%, I'm gonna say,
That
of
DJ.
MCs get to their DJ until the late 80s. The late 80s. Jam Master J, Run DMC. Jam Master J is a DJ.
Now, hold up now.
Scott LaRock.
You didn't say it a lot, yo. You didn't say it a
All
lot.
right, go ahead. All right, I'm done. I
But
think I got my
no,
point out. I think I
yeah,
got my
you got your point out, and I think you did a good job, right? Like, I want to see what our response is, because basically you've been up here kind of like you've been kind of agreeing with me that whole time right there. So, what do you got to think about that? I am.
I agree. The DJ slash emceeing thing is how rapping came about, right? Like they were just, saying words, and then, and then, like I said, the rap skill, came later. He's absolutely right. Like I don't have an issue with the history of it or who participated.
Okay. Now he also called it
I'm
a
not trying to erase
collaboration, though.
anybody. What
Okay.
was the question?
He also said it was a collaboration, though. You can't, and I was saying that you can't take them out the origins of it either.
I think those very early years in that very specific location, it was a collaboration. But by and large, hip hop, especially as it moved to other areas, is just a Black American art form.
Okay.
It's,
But I like how you said that right there. Now, can we just say the first part and not have to say the last part?
and then
Because the first
shut up.
part made a lot of sense.
I
Go ahead and say
meant
it one
it.
time. What was it?
I
It was,
meant it. The second
I
part
said
made a lot of
it's a
sense
location.
too.
It's more about the location, right? Like that's what the tricky part is. It might not be that on the street that I grow up in, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But in this building where Fat Joe is, in this building where Coke La Rock is, or what have you, the cultural circumstances might be different. Now, you want to get into like whose culture is that, right? And it's African American culture, right? But if you have an influx of people coming in and then helping you form something totally new, even though it's kind of like an offshoot of something y'all already been doing, he still was there helping you create something totally new. So I mean that's to me, and the big point is that that's not a diminishment towards African Americans. You don't take anything away from the creativity or the accomplishments of African Americans by saying that. And like to me, not at all, not a little bit.
It's urban culture. It's urban culture. It's urbanites. It's young street kids, right? They coping with life. That's why hip hop so it's so hot amongst African Americans because they coping with life.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like if you watch. I got a perfect example. Listen to this. If you watch somebody who did not grow up in the struggle of inner city living, if you watch them crunk, you watch them dance. For some reason, they just don't have the energy. But then you catch a kid that grew up in the struggle, and you watch him crump. You say, "God dang, this boy got this girl." You look at him, you say, "Dang, man, they got a certain energy about them." It's the same way with hip hop. It's the same way with our culture in general. And we try to do things as a part of survival. Like Logic, you know about the brain. People will do things to try to ease the pressure on the brain, right? And that's why young African American youth so fresh. That's why they always coming up with something new all the time because they in the struggle and they trying to cope. You can't leave that out. That's a part of the conversation. So I just want to let you know that's an urban thing. That's it.
And New York as a location specifically is very different than other urban locations around the country because of that cultural mix where you have um, Latinx, Cuban, Puerto Rican, all of them in very close proximity and kind of like mixed in with Black people as far as the location and how it's composed. In other areas, urban settings or environments are a lot of times all Black. So it again, it developed differently in those areas and it was like a more specific group. This is why
I
I
ain't
love
gonna
New
battle.
York.
I was on mute. Go ahead, Joel.
I'm not gonna battle that. I'm just saying like that we just don't want to go too far to the left or to the right. That's all I want to say. And you might be going too far to the left. That's all I'm saying.
Who, me or Logic?
You because you trying to say they're strictly African American. I don't know if that's I don't know if it's safe to say that because just think about us just think about us from a cultural standpoint. We
Joel, you're from New
anybody
York.
that would join them with huh?
You're from New York.
Mhm. No,
Thank you.
I'm B-more. Okay. All right.
Oh,
She
you're from
shut me down.
Baltimore.
Okay.
Yeah, see?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm going
and
back
he
on.
tried to. I'm
I'm going
telling
back
everybody he
on
tried
mute.
to claim
She Trump
Baltimore.
called me, Logic. You see her playing Trump card. She playing Trump card.
Yeah,
She shut
she
me
good at
down. You
that
from New
stuff.
York?
She good at
I'm
that
not
now.
from New York, so you got me. I'm going on mute. I'm going on mute.
Man, she ain't easy. But that's what I think Joel's getting there, right? I don't think that you can accurately say, that it's 100% African American creation. I don't think you can say that,
And you
and with that,
can't
whatever that
name one
percentage
Puerto
is,
Rican MC.
name you a Puerto Rican MC.
You can't.
I know more about Puerto Rican breakdancers than I do MCs, so I don't want to speak on something I
Same.
don't.
Same.
I
What's
mean,
Immortal
we
Right?
all
Technique?
we
What's
all know
Immortal
Crazy Legs,
Technique's
right?
background?
We all know Crazy
Yeah, of
Legs.
course. What's Immortal Technique's background?
Immortal
Um,
Techniques background. Let's check
Miss
on my
yeah,
handy
Miss I
dandy
am in New York.
Immortal
In New York.
Technique.
Yeah, that's
American
my man
rapper and
T right there.
activist.
let's see, was Prince Whip? Was he?
Felipe Andres Coronel, better known by the stage name Immortal Technique, is an American rapper and activist. Let's see. Lima, Peru. Born in Lima, Peru, so that's South America, 1978. Origin, Harlem, New York.
All right. All right, you wanted somebody Hispanic? There you go. That boy right there, Beast too. Let's look him up. He ain't no joke. One of the best out there.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna go to Prince Whip, but he is
Puerto Rican.
he's a Puerto Rican.
Somebody said name it element. Who? Who you talking about? Who in Puerto Rican?
That's a great point, True. So as Puerto Rican people and Peruvian people, if they were to say that hip hop is a Black American art form, would you argue with them or you would accept it?
If one of them who was around in the early '70s came out and said and explained, broke it down to us, yeah, well, this was really happening in the park. You know, this person was doing this person was doing that, and then about 1975, we finally got involved. I wouldn't fight that because then you're getting it from somebody who actually know what happened. They can break it down. They can tell you the names. They can tell you who's involved. All I know is that when hip hop finally began being filmed, I saw a lot of different groups doing it.
Yeah, in New
with
York.
the with the yeah in New York. Can't nobody mess with y'all with that. New York is the
Yes.
first. If we get the pop locking, or I shouldn't say pop locking, electric boogaloo, then we have to go West Coast. But as far as break dancing, hitting that floor and doing something serious, like if somebody could say, well, yeah, there was no Puerto Ricans until X, Y, and Z. I wouldn't fight that. Not me. I don't see a reason to because I know we the cool kids. We probably was the first ones that did it. But I mean, how you going like take them out of it? They
Shout out to the cool
early.
kids. Shout out to the cool kids. Shout out to the originators. Shout out to the originals. By the way, I am at Immortal Technique's own website. It's immortaltechnique.com. It says Immortal Technique is a Peruvian born. He was born in Lima, Peru.
You want to share your screen? Can you just share it?
I'm on my phone.
Okay.
But so Peruvian born, Harlem raised activist and rapper best known for his complex lyricism and blah da 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 da. So he is not Puerto Rican. Thanks. According to his website, unless this is some kind of spoof site. I don't know. It's immortaltechnique.com.
I gotta watch our amps. Technical as crap. Okay,
You
fine.
saying, man? How you gonna let her get you the first time, Joel? Come on.
Subscribe to Trimedia.
Joel, I appreciate you coming up here trying to help, big dog.
I like
You
Joel.
can't let Now, okay, so my group that's pre hip hop and got a lot of Puerto Rican influences in it is the Rocksteady crew, right? That's where you've got Prince Whipper Whip, and there's another Puerto Rican. I think it's Charlie Chase who's their MC. So you got a dancer, not an MC, but he's their DJ, right? So you got a Puerto Rican DJ and you got a Puerto Rican dancer, and these people are quite famous at the time, and they would be really popular before you would be calling this thing that they did hip hop. So he's right there. You got these people right there in the mix. Just as popular as anybody else. In the portraying the people in the movies like they're popular. These aren't sidekicks by any means. But so they're, I guess, like you might even call that I don't want to call it the glory days of other Hispanics, but there probably were more famous Hispanics than there are now. I can't think of too many that I would consider like famous now that are like Puerto Ricans. So, but back when breakdancing was still a big thing, that was a large part of their participation. And breakdancing was a big thing because the DJ would bring his crew and y'all crews would battle, and the way the battle was with the breakdancers, with the b-boys. So if there were a lot of Puerto Rican b-boys, and that they were a part of those same battles that would eventually become what we know today is hip hop, right? Like that's almost when it starts to become really recognizable.
Yeah, but that's later though, because
that's not later. That's really in the 70s. That's still pre-hip hop.
That's not pre-hip hop. You too late in the 70s, man. Listen, type in because I can't type into my phone just yet. I'm doing something. Type in pop rock. Okay, a Miss I Am. Explain what top rocking is. Explain what top rocking is and how did that get started? Go.
You mean up rocking or pop rocking? What are you talking about?
Top rock. I am. What's top rock?
Top rocking?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, T.O.P. Rocking.
It's
Am I saying it wrong?
It's like a style of dance. No, you said it right. I just wanted to be sure I was getting it right. All right.
Okay.
This is a wiki stream. In breakdancing, top rock is foot movement performed while standing, serving as the opening display of style and as a warm-up for transitions into the more acrobatic maneuvers of down rock. So it's basically, it's like it's like all the arm stuff you do before you get on the floor. It's what I understand.
I think that's a pretty good description.
How that come about? You're right. You're right. Does your source say how that came about?
B-boy history of hip hop.
I'll look it up on ChatGPT right quick.
14 Top Rock, the Breaks, a Breaking Encyclopedia. There is a Breaking Encyclopedia. History. In the early to mid 1970s, breaking was danced predominantly standing or on top. Pop master Fable writes, some of the earliest dancing by b-boy pioneers was done upright, a form that became known as top rocking. Top rocking seems to have developed gradually and unintentionally, leaving space for growth and new additions until it evolved into a codified form. Inspirations included James Brown.
Okay, so now listen. Now listen to me. Check this out.
You laughing?
So notice it says this is
Sorry.
This is the inception. Listen to me, y'all. This is the inception, right? So now let's go back to the black spades. So one of the things, now I heard this from but I'm telling y'all something that I heard from God dang it, what's that breakdancer's name? This is throwback. I cannot remember this dude's name. It's a brother. So he was talking about how with top rocking was when like the gangs, instead of them going head up, knuckle, squabbling, they would top rock. So they would see the other group of dudes, they walk over to them and say, yo, what's up, slamming? And then boom, they do that little pat with their hands and poses. They would freeze. They call it a freeze. If you had a serious freeze, you're like, ugh. You put the middle finger up in their face. I wish I was on camera. They're like, let's take that something. And that was some serious stuff. The hitting the floor was later. So what I'm trying to tell you is that with the gangs, they started top rocking to try not to go upside each other's head. Y'all follow what I'm saying to you?
Yes, you tell a great story.
Yeah, you got to put all that together when you're talking about this. And so that might be going towards, I am saying that this is African American, but anyway.
Joel, on to something, man. What you got to say? I am. What you thinking after all of this? Is this some BS? What is he talking
about? I'm a 1969 baby, man. I'm a 1969 baby. Just keep it in mind.
I just love that he challenged me to bring it up. The origin was a black man called James Brown. Sorry. Crazy Legs is Puerto Rican. No, I think it's cool the way he told us. Like, I really wanted to be there. By the way he told the story, I was like, I wish I was there.
I think Joel on to something though, for real. So like when I typed in, what the origin of top rocking is, the first thing it pulled up was the influences from Latin and African American communities. Latin dances like salsa, mambo, and up rock. I might have to look up rock. A competitive dance involving battle-like movements, heavily influenced from rhythm and style of top rocking in Bronx and Brooklyn, had strong Puerto Rican communities, that brought these dance traditions to the forefront. African American dancers contributed influences from jazz, tap, the James Brown inspired good foot, a dance that emphasizes dynamic footwork.
Yeah, it's like when you're pop locking and you like put your hand in somebody's face and stuff. It's like that.
Yeah. It's I can see the battle, side of up rocking for sure. And then so I got real specific with the question. I said, was it used? my spelling was terrible. ChatGPT hooked me up. So I asked, was it used in the gang culture in New York? And they said yes 2 times. It says top rocking, the early breaking were deeply intertwined in New York gang culture in the late 1960s and 1970s. Excuse me, before hip hop became a dominant cultural force, many young people in the Brooklyn neighborhoods, such as the South Bronx and Brooklyn, were part of the street gangs. These gangs often used dances as a way to express themselves, settle disputes, or display dominance in nonviolent ways. How gang culture influenced top rocking and breakdancing. Gangs in New York, like Black Spades, we talked about the Black Spades, Savage Skulls, and others, often had the territorial rivalries. Dance battles became a less dangerous alternative to physical fights. Instead of engaging in violence, gang members would battle on the dance floor using moves like top rocking to assert their skills, creativity, and dominance. Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all, Joel. You brought up a good point there.
Talking
So
to a
And
nice
that's the
baby,
dance
man. I grew
element of
up
hip
with
hop.
this.
That's the dance element of hip hop.
right, but so this is the significance of that. Look at the date that they used. It says in New York gang culture in the late 60s and early 70s. You don't start calling what these people doing hip hop until late 70s, early 80s. So that's almost like 10 years prior. You got street gangs, potentially Puerto Rican, mainly Puerto Rican street gangs that are challenging other gangs with uprocking.
That's
Like
that's
that's
not that's not for me. That's not any. There's no huge difference to me when we've already established that on as far as the dance element, heavily Puerto Rican influence in the New York location. Never disputed that. Never disputed that.
Mhm.
What I have talked about gatekeeping is hip hop as a Black American art form, the music. And because if we're to be honest, breaking, and shout out to Joel, I would love to see him spit on his head back in the day. But breaking isn't even a huge part of hip hop today in the way that it was at that time.
Right, but it's a huge part of the origins of hip
Yes,
hop.
absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not trying to erase Puerto Rican dancers. I love it. I live for it. My friend Ray still, well, he's injured now, but he breaks. I love breaking as an art form. I love graffiti as an art form, right? I'm not trying to erase these people.
But look, if we're having a conversation that's mainly around the origins of a particular culture,
Uh-huh.
the people who helped originate or helped like get it off the ground have to be the people of interest. They have to be when you ask the question of who created it, you got to be talking about the people who were there when it was created, doing the thing that they did to create it. So I'm saying like the significance for me is that you have Puerto Ricans doing uprocking as part of a gang thing that they did in the
Well, that
Bronx.
I'm not sure. I mean, the Chat GPT, like, um, it's like Chicago, right? Like people speak on Chicago gang culture. They have no idea what they're talking about because
Mhm.
they're not in that world, right? So I'm not sure what the sources are for Chat GPT that's like kicking this out. So I mean, when it comes to gang and street and culture and stuff like that, I wouldn't rely on Chat GPT for like hard facts.
Mhm.
That's the only thing I would say about that.
Okay. A little distrust ChatGPT there. Okay.
Where is sorry.
You still there, Joel? You got any another comment you want to leave before we move on?
I think he dropped down.
I thought he was still there. It's all good.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh, there you go. If you can shuffle through the weeds like I
Oh,
just
there you
did,
go.
like so, you gotta have like, even with reading. I mean, she's kind of right. when you're reading Wiki, Chat GPT, things like that, you can arrive at the truth. You just got to know the questions to ask, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the information's in there, but you just got to know you got to know certain names and what to ask and that kind of thing. Like so, hip hop. Like somebody saying hip hop is late '70s, early '80s would be wrong. Hip hop was coined by what's my man's name? He was around, man. He said hip hop. He called hip hop long before the Sugar Hill Gang um came up with the hop, the hibbit to the hibbit to the hip hop, up and you don't stop. I rock to the bang bang, boogie it up. So they stole that. They stole that from another MC.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I think they did. I think they did that in '81. So the dude who came up with that phrase, man, that phrase has been around about 5 years before that. So we talking '76. We're talking '76.
Mm-hmm.
And Google that. I know I'm right. What's his name? Oh shit! What's that MC's name, man? Dang it! Y'all caught me off guard. Way long off. I can't remember his
Hey,
name. I can't remember
it,
his name.
and hits, hits you always are good at pushing the limits of what we could prove, right? And I always appreciate that when you come into conversations. And I think that this is new to me. I didn't know that up rocking was in the gang culture. Because that puts Africa Bambaataa square back in the for me, like one of the more interesting stories. It's certainly the most diverse story too, right? Like, cause you
Somebody
have.
tried to take Bambaataa out. Is that crazy? Somebody's crazy. Somebody tried to
I
take
mean,
Bambaataa
I
out.
think if you take Bambaata's story out, I think you can very easily make the point of it's a black thing. But if you put his story in there, I think it's impossible to not call it a collaboration. I think it's just that simple.
Dude, I
But you
made
got to
that point
have.
from the beginning. It's
Yeah,
urban
I think
nights, man. The kids hanging together.
you need some specifics, and you need to like know his story and what he was doing in his little riverside, I guess territory, in order for it to make sense for it to be multicultural. But I understand both sides of the conversation. I definitely get it. So I can't be like gatekeeping sounds crazy. I do get it, right? To me it's a little unnecessary, but I wouldn't say it sounds crazy. I don't think it sounds crazy at all. I really don't. And I wish it did sound
Who
more
comes
crazy so I
crazy?
could say it, but it don't. It don't sound crazy.
I'll be crazy. I'll
Yeah,
tell
you
you
go
right
ahead
now.
be crazy. It
Hey,
ain't, it
hey,
ain't that
hey,
bad.
Joe just
I'm a
messed it
crazy.
up, man. I don't know why we feeding off of Fat Joe. He's just an idiot. For him to say 50-50, he being an idiot. He should have just told the truth. Got there going hip hop started around the cool kids, that's the African Americans, and
I think we need
we
I think we
definitely
need
was
some
in
top
there
three. Can
early.
people put their top three?
Who's top three?
To me,
I mean,
like top
It's
three
a
rap artists.
it's a conversation about hip hop. The chat has to put their top three in the chat. It just has to happen at some point.
top three rappers.
Yeah, everybody has a top three.
I'm not trying to say KRS-One is number one. Oops, I lied. He number one, two, three, four, and five.
Mm,
Who?
that's high praise.
Who's number one, two, three, four, and five?
He said KRS-One.
KRS-One. Oh, that's solid. That's solid.
Oh, you
All
saying you
five.
don't know that baller? You don't know that? Oh my come. You said you from New York? Oh,
I said it's
nah, cause I'm
solid.
schooling in New York, son.
KRS-One is
Nah, she ain't.
solid.
She's not from New York, so she got a different perspective.
Oh, okay. All right, I got
Mm-mm. Me. I'm biased with my list. I was a Jay-Z fan pretty early, but I'm definitely like Lil Wayne, Juvenile. Um,
You're so New Orleans.
I mean, that's what I grew up on. I'd still pick a lot of that over a lot of the new stuff I hear nowadays. So it's like for me, I might be like a one song off an album type of person, and I might get lucky and get two, but for the most part, I don't really be liking it. So It'd be like okay, it's like some background noise, but nothing I want to like seriously just sit down and listen to. Maybe bob my head to, but not like listen to break down all the lyrics. Nah, I'm not trying to do that.
Pac, Wayne, Kendrick. That's interesting. West, Southwest.
Yeah, so mine was Lil Wayne. Matter of fact, mine is probably Juvenile, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z.
Juvenile, Wayne, Jay-Z. You would compare. See, this speaks to the influence of region, because Juvenile and Jay-Z on the same list feels crazy to me. But it's your personal three. I'm not saying it's wild. I'm just saying like that.
I mean,
so
I just gotta put them above the people who I was familiar with at the time. Like I gotta put them above 8-Ball MJG. I gotta put them above Ludacris. I gotta put them above
8-Ball MJG is a big thing in that part of the country.
It is. It's not necessarily in New Orleans, but I wouldn't have put them above like Pimp C and them. Like I mean, I'm definitely going with Jay-Z over them. I listen to him, but I'm putting them over that. Like, he was the first person that I listened to that I was like, damn, this dude's skill. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I can really appreciate techniques. You know what I'm saying? I'm a person I like to see somebody really sharpen they sword on a particular thing. You know what I'm saying? And just to see how good they get. And he's cream of the crop as far as how skilled a lyricist could be.
It's interesting. We have such great examples of skill. And then I also, within the context of this conversation, have talked about natural ability, which Wayne is. Wayne is a person who does not write. He literally that just comes out of him, which is so crazy to me. But then you have Jay also doesn't write, but he is composing. He just happens to do it in real time, right? So Jay is thinking and composing and creating, even though he might not write it down or whatever, but that is more on the skill side for me. So it's interesting. He couldn't do it. Shout out to the side.
Pitbull.
He couldn't do it. We're past that.
Pitbull is the only one I know, but I couldn't name him though. It's Pitbull. So.
Pitbull. That is an L, sir.
That's an L. He's not Puerto Rican.
No, I'm just saying Pitbull, and really.
I mean, it ain't a lot to choose from. I didn't say it was.
Exactly.
I didn't say
I love when you say it over and over again. I think it's wild that people don't name Lauryn Hill in their top 3 and 5 conversation, because she's one of the craziest lyricists alive ever. And I'm not talking about, yes, all you have to do, take an afternoon, right, to listen to the Unplugged album. Everybody they listen to Miseducation over and over again. You need to listen to that Unplugged album. You need to listen. And by the way, she's rapping and playing the guitar at the same time. You won't be able to see it, right? But listen to the verses on her Unplugged album. It's unreal. I love Yasin. I love Yasin Bey. I think he's I think he's great. Let's see. Jay, obviously, in terms of skill. All of the artists that I listen to on a regular basis are local artists. They're not like national artists that everybody knows about. LaKaylee 47, in my opinion, is the best feminine lyricist since Lauryn Hill. She's amazing. Mm-hmm. She's out of New York. Shout out to NY. I love NY. I'll be there in a couple months. Of course, Doechie's doing great. It's too early for me to like put her somewhere super prominent on my list. I feel like there's a very crazy rapper that I'm forgetting. J. Cole is insane. I appreciate Kendrick. There are things that I don't appreciate about Kendrick, so I can't put him on a list right now. Yeah, Lauren, people are going to realize this like 20 years ago. They're going to be like, those people that were alive in 2020s were crazy because they were not falling over Miss Lauryn Hill or Miss Hill.
So wait, what
I'm
don't you like
forgetting
about Kendrick?
somebody very important. It's going to bother me.
What don't you like about Kendrick though?
His association with Dre, to be very frank. That bothers me a lot. That's
I'm not
that's
familiar
what
with it.
keeps
Didn't
me.
Dre pronounce him as like the new king of the West Coast or something like that?
Yeah, he also works with Dre. Dre essentially discovered him. I mean, people are discovered 3 times, right? There's like the first person is like, oh, you have talent. There's the person that actually has resources to put you in a position, and then so that's the person that usually gets credited with discovering him. So he's essentially Dre's artist. And so I have a problem with Dre, so I have a problem with Kendrick right now. Nas, absolutely. I have to put Nas. I wouldn't put Ye on any list. Not an MC list, not a lyricist list, not any of that. Black Thought is a ridiculous lyricist. Black Thought is absolutely crazy.
I think Kanye's got some. I think he has a few really, really good songs, but I think the ones that he have that are really good, they're really good.
Yeah, Kanye makes amazing music. I think as a producer, wow, we're at 2 hours.
Yeah, we hit the 2 hour mark. Yeah, we didn't hit the 2 hour mark. I think we're going good though.
Nice. I feel like if I die tonight, I'll say the right.
Not a little extreme. Okay.
Because hip hop is so important to me. And I'm like, how dare myself? Somebody threw tip in. Wow. Jersey, where are you from?
Tip was cool. He was, I mean, I don't know about favorite or best or nothing like that. I could see favorite,
He's
but not
definitely
best.
a vibe. Like you can listen to a Tip album and have a fantastic day.
You saying Tip is in Q-Tip.
Oh, Q-Tip. Yeah, I like Q-Tip. Shout out to Q-Tip. Jersey. Okay. I didn't want to assume, what happens when you assume. Yeah, Jay, Nas, Black Thought, Yasin, Lauryn Hill.
So you like the sleeper list. You like the list that like I know you wouldn't have picked these names. So and I can make a good case for any one of these names. You like that kind of list, huh? Like you got like it's like kind of like a little I did my homework and you didn't type of list, but I respect it. I actually like it, There's nothing that's not saying anything bad, but you wouldn't have a list like that if you wasn't as well studied. You get what I'm saying?
No, people who listen to hip hop have a list. Chris Rock told us that. Everybody has a top 5. Everybody has a top 5. Period. Now, those are people who I respect, who I feel are top of the art form. Those aren't the artists I listen to every day. That's a totally different list. I listen to totally different people.
Right. So you're saying best and favorites are 2 different lists.
Yes,
right?
Yes. Like Nicki. I don't like Nicki's music, but Nicki can rap herself to crazy. But she doesn't talk about anything that I want to listen to, right? So while I can respect that she has the skill, she's a tremendous rapper. She just is content. She doesn't subject matter. I'm not going to listen to Nicki Minaj.
Okay, I can understand that. That makes a lot of sense. I think we pretty much covered most of everything, unless there was something else that you wanted to be able to add on to it.
Man, I had a ball. Thank you so much for the collaboration. This was awesome. The chat was awesome. And what you know what I really love about this chat?
What's
They
that?
were engaging. They weren't afraid to put their top 5 up there, because that can go a few different ways. But they came through with the likes, which is just so respectful and beautiful. And like Logic said, it was really it it embodied the elegance of human existence. Was it human
Mm,
existence or human experience?
I think it was probably the human experience. So
The
that's
human spirit. It was the human
was it the human
spirit.
spirit?
The
Hmm.
elegance of the human spirit. That's what you guys have. And I love you.
I can get a little poetic at times. I apologize. Well, not even apology.
Bars.
It definitely happens. But yes, that's yeah, that's a little bit more about me right there. So, for me, my little simple closeout is I think a lot of these topics tonight were they deserve some nuance, and it's usually not as cut and dry as it just initially seems. Um, you know, Fat Joe using the N word. I think it's real simple to just say no, he shouldn't, and I think it's real difficult to like validate necessarily like why. And she has her validation, and I understand what it would be, but I guess from the standpoint of making it progressive or making it actually like mean something that he can't say it. I think that's what I'd rather be focusing on. And I think when you focus on that, it I think it might not be worth the energy to force him to have to say it. Like I think that we could put our efforts into a different thing. And real quickly, and hopefully I did a good job of addressing why I called the show Hip Hop versus FBA, is because I think that hip hop embodies its own collective spirit, right? It embodies its own collaboration of peace and unity that is a part of the spirit of being hip hop, period. Right. So once you introduce another spirit that says we need to figure out a way to be more exclusive towards other groups of people for whatever particular reason, I think that you've already begun to unwind the all the benefits of hip hop and the spirit of hip hop already, right? So when I say I don't think it matters or I don't think it affects black people one way or the other by saying it's a collaboration or by saying that it's completely a black thing, I really truly believe that that might not be again the best place to focus our efforts. I don't think that provides us enough in order to take the job of gatekeeping um, in order for that to be as important, right? I just personal opinion from my personal experiences, and I think we talked a little bit about them about legislature and talking about ownership as far as some things that I feel like should be way up the list as far as things that we should be focused on and potentially gatekeeping ourselves, right? We couldn't necessarily gatekeep ownership, but if you kind of get where I'm saying, where I'm going with it, that's seems like a much better place to be able to rest our efforts. But that's my closeout. I really appreciate y'all coming and liking the video, man. Appreciate y'all being patient. I had a great time with my co-host. We're definitely going to line up some more stuff, some more current event topics that we can be able to discuss with you guys live, open up the panel, and have a fun little conversation. You got anything that you want to close out with, I am?
I just want to see all these amazing people back next Thursday. That's all I need. And bring a
That's definitely a
friend.
great start. We get those likes back, and get our crowd, a little regular crowd, some people that we can start recognizing some names. We'll be rolling.
Absolutely. Great show, Logic.
All right, I appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and play our last commercial again. I appreciate y'all coming out, man, and we'll see y'all next Thursday, same time.
Bye, guys.
patience, we got them wait. What? Took a little minute, was patient, but now we take it. Anytime we want this game, my situation is entertainment intertwined with information. Alchemist soul, how we move the tassel and roll. It's amazing how we can turn something brass to gold. And we steady making hits. Architect with the prop in the scripts. It's logical that the product will flip. My boy Chef did the lineup. I'm fresh in the bitch. Carnivorous podcast, the newest show on the list. DQ on the boat, so I'm rocking the ship. Swat the music gon' be dope and the artist legit. Hold my beard, concrete chord, then stepped in the door. See, that's my man and he reppin' for show. And true saviors a player with flavor. Lexicon Taylor, lines on point like a laser. We need that paper, we building the vault. Cause you niggas don't listen, y'all be waiting to talk. Lack accountability and try to make it our fault. But opposing us is trying to arm wrestle the hawk. You coming up short on your re-up, cause nigga we up. Really wouldn't want to be up. I kick my feet up. My beef is wagyu and my truck is all speakers. Bills is all blue and my blunt is all reefer. With possible deniability, that boy eater. High quality whack juice by the liter. They like to call us ops, we got Oppenheimer features. That's the bomb out on the island just to teach you. Yeah, DQ. Check. Have you ever had a dream in the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In the room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Alright. Nigga, have you ever had a dream during the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In the room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Calculated every step, so I can't stand a hater out here hating on. Niggas out here making moves, see I hand out the type of shit they waiting on.